When people talk about Elon Musk, they usually begin at the point where he became impossible to ignore. Rockets rising into the sky, electric vehicles rewriting an old industry, billion-dollar valuations, viral interviews, public controversy, extreme wealth. The version most people know starts at visibility, when the outcome was already obvious enough to be noticed. But visibility is almost never the beginning of a story. It is usually the final stage of one. The real story began much earlier, in a life that looked nothing like power. Elon Musk was born in Pretoria, far from the places people typically associate with global technology empires. His childhood did not resemble the polished mythology often attached to billionaires after the fact. It was not a straight line of early brilliance leading naturally to success. It was complicated, uncomfortable, and inward. He was known as a child who disappeared into thought. While many children chased social belonging, he seemed more interested in worlds that existed inside books. He read constantly: science fiction, engineering, fantasy, history, philosophy, technical material. Reading was not simply a hobby, it was a method of expansion. When the external environment feels limiting, the mind often becomes the first territory worth building. There were also difficult social realities. Reports of bullying and isolation have followed many retellings of his early life. Whether every detail is remembered perfectly matters less than the pattern itself. Difference often attracts pressure, especially in childhood. Someone intensely analytical, quiet, and absorbed in subjects others found strange tends not to blend easily into ordinary environments. Hard environments often create one of two outcomes. Some people shrink to fit them. Others become internally resistant to them. Musk appears to have moved toward the second path. Rather than becoming shaped by the room, he became more committed to what existed outside it. That outside world in his mind was the future. He became fascinated not just by products, but by systems. How engines work, how electricity works, how software works, how physics constrains what can and cannot be done. Many people look at an object and ask what it does. Some ask how it works. A smaller number ask why it hasn't been improved yet. That last category often produces builders. As a teenager, he learned programming and created a video game called Blastar, later selling it. The financial amount was small, but the symbolic meaning was large. It demonstrated an early pattern that would repeat across decades. Identify a possibility, build quickly, convert imagination into something functional, then move to the next level. What many people miss is that early success often matters less for money than for identity. Once someone proves to themselves that ideas can become reality, their tolerance for ambition changes. But Musk also seemed to understand something else early. Environment matters. Talent placed in the wrong ecosystem compounds slowly. Ambition surrounded by limitation wastes energy. So he left South Africa, moved through Canada, and eventually reached the United States. This move is often framed as biography. In reality, it was strategic geography. If you want to participate in the future, proximity matters. In North America, life was not luxurious. There were periods of uncertainty, financial pressure, ordinary jobs, and unstable footing. Success stories often erase these middle years because they are not cinematic enough. But these years matter most. They are where identity gets tested without applause. Eventually, he attended University of Pennsylvania, studying economics and physics. That combination reveals a lot. Economics explains incentives, markets, and human behavior under scarcity. Physics explains reality, constraints, and what systems permit. Together, they create a lens through which both people and machines become understandable. Most people specialize narrowly. Musk seemed drawn to broad frameworks. In the 1990s, while many still treated the internet as novelty, he saw infrastructure. He co-founded Zip2, helping newspapers transition into digital city guides and directories. It was not glamorous, but it solved a transitional problem: old systems entering a new environment. This became a recurring theme throughout his career. He repeatedly moved towards sectors where the future seemed obvious eventually, but painful immediately. Zip2 was sold, making him wealthy by normal standards. For many people, that would have been the end of struggle and the beginning of comfort. Security achieved, risk reduced, status unlocked. But some personalities do not interpret wealth as permission to rest. They interpret it as fuel. He moved next into finance, helping build what became PayPal. Again, the logic was systemic. Why should money move slowly in a digital age? Why should legacy institutions define the future of payments? Why does friction still exist where software could remove it? Those are not consumer questions. They are infrastructure questions. When PayPal sold, Musk became genuinely rich. He now had what millions pursue their entire lives: independence, optionality, leverage, insulation from ordinary constraints. At that point, many wealthy people shift from building to protecting. He did the opposite. He increased the scale of difficulty. He founded SpaceX, entering an industry dominated by governments, bureaucracy, extreme capital costs, and technical failure. To many observers, this looked irrational. Private rocket companies were not considered normal pathways to wealth. They were considered pathways to losing wealth. That may be one of the defining patterns of Musk's story. He repeatedly entered arenas where conventional logic discouraged participation. Then came Tesla. Car manufacturing is historically brutal. It destroys weaker companies. It demands supply chains, engineering discipline, capital intensity, regulatory navigation, manufacturing precision, and brand trust simultaneously. Electric vehicles at the time were widely dismissed as niche or impractical. Again, he entered anyway. This reveals an important distinction. Many people optimize for favorable present conditions. Others optimize for future inevitabilities. If something is likely to matter later, they accept pain earlier. There were years when both SpaceX and Tesla were under severe pressure. Rocket launches failed, vehicles faced delays, production bottlenecks intensified, public criticism was constant, cash pressure rose. The distance between ambition and collapse became dangerously small. Retellings of success often compress these years into a sentence. But psychologically, they are the whole story. Because this is where most people stop. Not when failure is guaranteed, but when success becomes expensive enough emotionally, financially, and socially that continuation feels irrational. Musk continued. That does not automatically make every decision wise, but it does indicate unusual tolerance for prolonged uncertainty. Many people claim to want extraordinary outcomes while structuring their lives to avoid extraordinary stress. Those two goals conflict. Eventually, outcomes turn. SpaceX achieved successful launches, government contracts, and later reusable rocket breakthroughs that changed the economics of spaceflight. Tesla moved from doubted outsider to one of the most valuable automakers in the world, forcing legacy manufacturers to take electric vehicles seriously. Once markets recognized these shifts, wealth expanded at a scale few people ever experience. Homes, aircraft access, influence, global recognition, direct communication with leaders, the practical ability to redirect talent and capital across industries. But money was still not the central story. There are different kinds of wealth. Consumption wealth buys luxury. Status wealth buys attention. Structural wealth buys leverage. Musk increasingly appeared to operate in the third category. More capital meant larger bets. Satellite internet through Starlink, brain-computer interfaces through Neuralink, tunneling infrastructure through the Boring Company, artificial intelligence initiatives, robotics, energy storage, and beyond. This is why his life no longer fits ordinary millionaire narratives. The defining feature is not luxury, even if luxury exists. It is agency, the capacity to move resources toward difficult goals faster than most institutions can react. That is rarer than money itself.